going through the same learning lesson over and over again that can frustrate you or can make you more encouraged because you see it as a challenge or you see it as a process that's being completed with all the time that it needs to be completed. This might be others seeing you or reacting to you in this way. They might not understand how far you have traveled, how much you have expanded, and because of the mutability of Sagittarius, this can be others learning from you, learning to see you, learning to express to you in a more gullible and mutable way about spirituality, faith, and belief systems in general. So to others, you might look like you're spending a long time in the same space, but maybe you are in the same space but expanded with more things in it, with more things in your spaceship, in your mind, in your emotions, better wisdom, better knowledge, better way to process personal testimonies. Or you are developing a consistent or stubborn way to think, communicate, and analyze about your personal testimonies, spirituality, creativity, and ways to obtain wisdom, knowledge, and to travel. Also, you might be learning how to be supportive to others, how to teach others by example or by direct influence, how to be consistent, and how to profit or just be strong enough to spend a lot of time thinking, communicating, analyzing, or being exposed to in a mental level about the same subject or about the same type of thoughts, conversations, ideas, or perspective about society and the world in general, especially from far away. This can also mean that you are learning how to be seen as an example, as an expert, or as somebody that knows about a specific subject, or others are learning how to accept you in a more relatable, gullible, and spiritual way as somebody that can be very knowledgeable on a detailed and practical level about things that are more spiritual and less material. If you have Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, or Saturn, because Saturn is exalted in Libra, if you have any of those alignments in Libra, the King of Swords is your tarot card for Venus in Sagittarius transit for the year 2025. As a Libra in those placements, you are sextiling Venus in Sagittarius, so you have an opportunity to relate or be related in more gullible or mutable ways about spirituality, creativity, uniqueness, freedom, and also ways to obtain wisdom, knowledge, and ways to expand and travel. The King of Swords means here that you can be great support, you can be a great example, you can be a great dictator of tempo when it comes to create new ways to think, communicate, and analyze in more balanced, sophisticated, or global ways about association, networking, groups, and organizations on a personal, environmental, or even bigger level when it comes to do those things about spirituality, principles, values, religion, faith, or belief. So you might be initiating, you might want, you might need, you might just going through those things in your personal life, initiating new relationships or new ways, new areas in already existing relationships where you or others want or need to associate, participate, be a part of something that is more inspiring, more liberating, more free, and that brings more spiritual, religious, or faithful expansion, testimonies, wisdom, and knowledge. Also, this might mean that others can see you subconsciously or consciously as this new wave, as this new example, and they might want to attach themselves too much to you, or they might want to use you to feel free, to feel inspired, and they can drain you, they can make you look like you're not the one bringing that new energy. They might be using your communication, your position, your status to reach a place of freedom or spiritual connectivity. So make sure to take more than 50% at least of the energy of creating new relationships and new mental and social spaces to relate and associate spirituality, wisdom, knowledge, and personal testimonies. If you have Sun, Moon, Rising, Mars, Uranus, or Pluto because Uranus is exalted in sign. If you have those alignments in Scorpio, the Queen of Swords is your tarot card for Venus in Sagittarius transit over the year 2025. As a Scorpio, you are fatal attracting Venus in Sagittarius, so you might be receiving through mutable or scattered associations lighter, more expressive, inspirational, and free ways to relate, compromise, or have pleasure in sophisticated and beautiful ways about spirituality and ways to obtain wisdom, knowledge, ways to travel, ways to expand, and faith and belief in general. Also, you might be giving through those same type of association a more fixed and consistent way to be emotional, to be sentimental, to have structure, to have privacy, safety, and accumulation when it comes to receiving or being exposed to spiritual, creative, testimonial, and religious information, inspiration, expression, wisdom, and knowledge. With the Queen of Swords, it means that you have the opportunity to receive great support in areas of thinking, communicating, analyzing, socializing, and bringing more balance, uniqueness, individuality, but also structure, stubbornness, and accumulation to those realms. So you might be receiving support so you can be more consistent, fixed, and stubborn when it comes to communicating, thinking, analyzing, or associating yourself with unique ideas, unique organizations, unique groups, or unique schools of subject, or unique ways to communicate and express yourself about deep, emotional, spiritual, and creative stuff in a logical, realistic, but yet flexible way. Because fixed air is Aquarius, a squaring with Scorpio. So you might be learning to receive that support, or by receiving that support, you are learning how to become a bit more Aquarius. Still fixed, still consistent, still caring about structure, accumulation, and building trust, building connections that are sufficient, but more logical, more about individuality, more about structure, more about friendship and having fun in a responsible and realistic way. And you're doing this or receiving this in areas that deal with associating and being mutable with spirituality, belief, and faith. If you have Sun, Moon, Rising, or Jupiter in Sagittarius, the Hierophant, Taurus, is your tarot card for Venus in Sagittarius 2025 transit. By having Sagittarius in those alignments, you are conjuncting Venus in Sagittarius. So now you are an example, or the more appetizing thing to relate with or about with others, or people are seeing you as an example in how to relate or not to relate about spirituality, belief, faith, and ways to obtain wisdom and knowledge, ways to travel in all the realms, and ways to expand as well. By having the Hierophant, it means that you are learning a spiritual lesson, a lesson about your most true self through a specific desire, through a specific circumstance, through a specific feeling, relationship, pleasure, or exchange of information, knowledge, body fluids, or whatever. So Taurus is fixed earth, so it's very specific, very structured, and the Hierophant represents that as the example, as the activity, the object, the person, the relationship, the scenario that you are fixed and sometimes stuck into in order to learn a specific angle of a specific aspect of yourself. In this case, specifically how you relate in a more sophisticated, gullible, pleasurable, or committed way about your spirituality, your personal testimonies, your belief systems, your views on the world, your views on religion, your views on spiritual groups, and your own ways to obtain wisdom, knowledge, and your own ways to expand and travel. So here, don't get too stuck. Don't react too much, don't worry too much, don't get too attached to the physical realm. Remember that the purpose is for you to learn an aspect about yourself, to learn or remember about a higher nature, a power, a characteristic, a memory, a purpose, and enjoy. Enjoy the desire, enjoy the circumstance, enjoy the hardship even, enjoy the blessings, all the blessings. But remember that that's a tool, a way, a path to achieve a higher vision, a wider perspective about yourself and about how you can integrate and associate with the right limits and boundaries, with the right profit, your spiritual surroundings. If you have Sun, Moon, Rising, Saturn, or Mars, because Mars is also exalted in Capricorn, your tarot card for the Venus in Sagittarius transit for the year 2025 is the Three of Wands. Capricorn inconjuncts, aka misunderstands, and is being misunderstood by Sagittarius. So right now, you might be misunderstanding your own and others' ways to be relatable, to be committed, and to be pleasureful in a more mutable and gullible way about spirituality, creativity, faith, belief, imaginations, and ways to obtain wisdom, knowledge, ways to travel, and ways to expand. Also, others might be misunderstanding you as well. And you having Capricorn in those alignments means that you create new routines and boundaries, new limits and new patterns in a more practical, realistic, dry, safe, and secure way. And right now, also, Mars is in Capricorn, so you might have extra passion and extra frustration when it comes to bring more limits, more boundaries, more grounding energy to Venus in Sagittarius. That can be useful, but others might be misunderstanding you, or you might be misunderstanding how others do what you do, or how they react to what you do as well. Because you might be too quick, too strongly, too exalted in bringing relatable ways to communicate and analyze or just be a part of spirituality, wisdom, and knowledge. You might be too quick in bringing those things into reality, into practicality, into profit, or into insecurity, limits, and boundaries. And the Three of Wands means that you are creating or completing spiritual, individual, unique, creative, wise, and knowledgeable awarenesses, information, perspectives, knowledge, know-how. So you might be misunderstanding what you are completing, the images, the awarenesses. You might be misunderstanding the process, and you might be also misunderstanding the little pieces that will make the big picture. Or others are misunderstanding how you are relating to them, your findings, your new awareness, your new wisdom, or more complete, more expanded wisdom and knowledge. And you also might be here having great spiritual profit because you might have this revelation, or just now you're more clear and more aware of a spiritual aspect, a spiritual power, a spiritual limit, or spiritual boundary that you can bring into reality to make your routines and patterns more free, more exciting, or more creative, or just to make that spirituality, that wisdom, that knowledge, that personal testimony something that you can profit from, something that you can raise your status from, and something that you can bring more spiritual trust, wisdom, and knowledge to your networking and associations and structure in general. But you might be misunderstanding, and you might get insecure, you might get shameful, and you might get gullible, and you sacrifice these new awarenesses, or you don't show them because you feel silly, or you feel like that there's no business being a part of your structure, and that others have no business in knowing how you are creating new routines and patterns, or new ways to look at status and profit in more relatable, gullible, spiritual, and creative ways. But in the end of the day, there is still a common ground between Capricorn and Sagittarius. You guys both go for freedom. You guys both go for networking and association, being a part of something, but in different ways. So in the end, you can use Venus in Sagittarius to relieve some of the pressure, to take away from your mind too much realism, if that's the case, too much structure, and too much caring about status, to then really initiate new routines, new patterns, new actions, or new attractions that are real, practical, that deal with your responsibilities and how you deal with limits and boundaries in a more spiritual, wise, exciting, creative, and individual way. So that can take the weight off, and you might need to take some leaps of faith, but at least now you know that you have or will have better awareness or more expanded awareness when it comes to yours and others' ways to relate and associate in gullible and sophisticated ways spirituality, creativity, wisdom, and knowledge. And you can help yourself and others to make profit and to make healthy limits, boundaries, and responsibilities out of that. If you have Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, Saturn, or Uranus in Aquarius, because Mercury is exalted in Aquarius, Ten of Wands is your card for Venus in Sagittarius 2025. As an Aquarius, you are sextiling Venus in Sagittarius, so you have an opportunity to relate or be related to in more mutable, associable, and gullible ways about spirituality, wisdom, knowledge, ways to travel, ways to expand, personal testimonies, and also imagination, spirituality, belief, faith, and belief systems in general. The Ten of Wands means too much in terms of accumulation or just a lot of things that you can use in the realm of creativity, passion, frustration, anger, motivation, individuality, the will, the need to express, to change something, to be seen, or to show something to others that is personal to you, that you have a personal interest, personal expansion, or personal insecurity about. So on the negative side, it's going to be too much fire, too much visions, too much imaginations, too much spiritual senses tingling, too much illusions, too much aggressiveness, too much frustration from you or from others. All this can mean that you have a lot of spiritual content, you have a lot of uniqueness, a lot of creativity, a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge, a lot of ways to expand, a lot of ways to travel, and you have to use this in a more mutable, open, free, relatable, gullible, and sophisticated way. You have to, it's too much fire for you to handle on your own, Aquarius. So stop being the lone star and create or join a constellation so you can share all this fire, so you can share all this passion, all these visions, all this individuality, and also be open because you have all this, but it doesn't mean you are alone. That doesn't mean nobody wants to share the load. Some people have no fire, or they don't trust themselves, they don't trust their spiritual or social ability to be and express their uniqueness and individuality, their creativity, their faith, their wisdom, their knowledge, and they want, they need. Perhaps they already are connected to you, but your stubbornness, Aquarius, doesn't see that. So be a part of a constellation, be open, be a bit more silly, a bit more free. Don't think so much about your image, don't think so much about your status, don't think so much about others' images and other status. Communicate, analyze, think, relate, commit, have pleasure when it comes to associate, to receive, to inspire, to learn, to teach your spiritual wisdom, your personal testimonies, your travels, and be open to see the expression of others' travels. Be open to see others' principles, values, wisdom, and knowledge. And then you can share, you can release all this fire. Make sure to moderate it. Don't throw all this fire to yourself or others at once. And make sure also to not show to others that you have all this fire that you have too much of something, because then they can use it, be scared by it. Just release this at the right amount, for the right time, in the right occasion, and be a bit gullible. It's okay, Aquariuses, if you are a stubborn ass Aquarius, if you're not already relatable, you are not gullible enough. You can be gullible a little bit. You can be a part of the bandwagon a little bit. You can be in the trends. You can be in what's fun and cool for a little bit. You don't need to be rebelling right now. You don't need to be on the different things right now. You don't need to show others that you're different and weird. They already know. Just focus in sharing the fire in a gullible, relatable, sophisticated, and mutable way in your spiritual, creative, knowledgeable, and wise realms. If you have Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Neptune, or Jupiter in Pisces, because Venus is also exalted in Pisces, Justice, Libra is your tarot card for Venus in Sagittarius 2025 transit. By having Pisces in those alignments, you are squaring Venus in Sagittarius, so you are learning how to relate, associate, and be gullible in more expressive, open, and real ways about spirituality, creativity, uniqueness, individuality, wisdom, knowledge, faith, belief, and ways to travel and expand. With justice, it means that you are going to be demanding or needing to see your value, to see your terms of the deal come through, to achieve, obtain, or receive what you think is fair and necessary for you, or others might be seeing the value, might be seeing what you deserve, might be seeing your principles, might be seeing how you relate, how you carry yourself, how impactful you are in your own life and in your own surroundings, because some people are not very impactful in their own lives. You know what I'm saying? On the other side, you might become too passionate, too dry, too much like the crusader spirit to achieve what you want, to achieve what you need, to achieve what you think you deserve to have when it comes to being valued, being relatable, having relationships, being accepted, and whatnot. But in the end of the day, I sense here more you claiming your power, or you keep walking that path if you're already there, recognizing your value, applying your value, telling others what is your value that you really think it is, because you Pisces can create a lot of different truths. You can create a lot of different justifications to undermine yourself or self-sabotage just because others can't go as deep, as wide, or as crazy as you go. And sometimes you think your value is what others tell you or make you feel, but deep down, you know you have Venus exalted in there. You know what is your value. You might still not have something to back that up. Others might not recognize it yet, but you must walk the path to achieve what your value, to achieve what you think you deserve. Because even if you don't get what you think you deserve, because sometimes you get something else, walking the path will relieve you of certain pains, resentment, or rage that then you could use with your Pisces superpower to bring that straight from the void, straight from the warp, straight from the spiritual realm into reality via relationships, thoughts, feelings, family members coming in, secret haters, secret admirers, people on the internet, randos on the street. So walk the path of justice for yourself. Create new ways to think, communicate, analyze, socialize, and bring balance to your life in order to be clear, to the point about your value, what you want, what you need, but keep it cute, keep it sophisticated, and keep it on the right limits and boundaries when it comes to relationships and conversations. Also, others might still be learning how to see the value, the expansion, the creativity and spiritual power in how you relate to the world or to them or around them in more gullible or mutable ways. Spirituality, your personal testimonies, your beliefs, your wisdom, your knowledge, your faith, or what you think about spirituality, faith, or their faith in general. So they might be still struggling to see your value or to understand how you value yourself in a certain way. Or you might be struggling, or others might be struggling to understand the value in a certain desire, in a certain inspiration, in a certain teaching. You might have an attribute, a creativity, a belief, or a faith, and you might be struggling to see the value of you participating or being a part of it right now, or others might be struggling, still learning how to see the value in that thing in you or how you value those things. But it's more about what I feel right now, a desire from the heart to achieve your value, to achieve, say, and be seen by your justice, by what you think it's right for you, your physical, immediate surroundings, and spiritual surrounding in general. But it's a learning process. You're still learning how to see, how to relate, and how you to take more action, more initiative, and be more expressive, be more free when in that area when it comes to your personal testimonies, personal belief systems, and also, don't be so afraid to comment on others' belief systems, on others' testimonies, on others' wisdom and knowledge, but keep it light, keep it cute, make it to show your value, to show your stance, not to attack them. You know what I'm saying? And this is the end of Venus in Sagittarius 2025 tarot reading for all signs. I hope you enjoyed. Remember, this is a general reading. If you want something specific for you or more in-depth, contact me on the email and Instagram down below in the description. Make sure to check more videos here on the channel, and now hopefully you already know how to relate and be more gullible, or how to not be so gullible when it comes to associate and be mutable with yours and others' visions, imaginations, spirituality, faith, beliefs, wisdom, knowledge, and personal testimonies. Thank you very much for watching. I wish you the best thoughts, ideas, feelings, and emotions, and I wish that you believe in yourself and in all possibilities. Till the next one, esoteric cloud surfer, surfing out. Peace!